Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator Beta. And today we are checking out the first part of a two-part video where we look at the Longitude and the AAU1 update from working title. A ton has changed with this aircraft, guys. Stick around to get some ideas on what it was. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides as well as any future guides that come along down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below, and thank you to all of my current subscribers. All right, everybody, thanks for tagging along. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at some of the new features that have been already added to the Cessna Citation Longitude with the AAU1 update. Remember, this is currently only in Microsoft Flight Simulator Beta. Now we're going to be taking a look at the new and very improved G5000 suite that comes with the Cessna Citation Longitude, as well as some other features that come along with it as well. So today we're not going to be flying, but I'm going to be breaking down to you what some of the changes to the aircraft is, and then tomorrow's video we're actually going to get airborne. Now one of the spoiler videos that I will give you guys tonight is we're going to be testing out the TBM 930 improvement mod, answering a bunch of your questions as far as whether or not it works with the beta version. So stay tuned for that tonight as well. So let's go ahead and get started without any further delay. The first thing we'll do is come on down here and we're going to flip the standby power up. Now you can already see that some of the status of the switches have changed. For example, APU generator is already on by default. So you're going to want to actually walk through your pre-flights. The generators are on for the left and right gen switches. And let's see here. I think that's it. All right, we've got parking brake set. APU is off. Flaps are retracted. Throttles at idle. Spoilers are retracted as well. And so I think other than that, we are good to go. Let's go ahead and bring the left and right battery on. First, immediately take a look at the screen coloring, guys. The screen coloring has changed dramatically. We have that G1000 NXI look, that very high definition screen color. Take a look at what we have over here on the right, something that I have been wanting for a long time, and anybody who flies the Cessna Citation Longitude at any length of time knows that one of the things we have to do is set our trim for takeoff if you're following it to the book. We finally have a trim indicator, and yes, it absolutely works. And trust me, we are not even scratching the top of the surface yet on all the functionality that has been added to this aircraft. The engine readouts are completely different. The spool up time is different and much more realistic. We have a bunch of temperature information now down at the bottom, electrical information, cabin pressure, landing elevation entry. You guys can all see that this is just on one screen. There is so much that has changed with this. Fuel quantity, left and right tanks, everything is in a very, very nice and easy to see configuration. And of course, as we talked about in the news video, you can now see we have split screen capability. But stay tuned, because again, we are just scratching the surface. Take a look at the layout of the PFD now. Everything looks much cleaner, again, much nicer. You can see no takeoff, meaning that we do not have a confirmed takeoff configuration. Again, so much has changed. This is about to get pretty intense, and this is actually one of the things that I'm still working out on how to finish to update the guide. We will definitely be having to update my Cessna Citation Longitude guide once this becomes live. So I'm going to try to get this done before it actually hits the stable version, so you guys will have access to that. Now, something to keep in mind here, the MFD touchscreen controllers, these two here now operate independent of each other. You can now do completely different things. However, the pilot and first officer TSCs still mirror each other, but this is something that we should see resolved at a later time. They have made it very clear, that was in the release notes, that at the current state, the pilot and first officer TSCs mirror each other, but that will not always be the case. That it is something that we will get to see later on. Now, I'm going to step upstairs for just a quick second here. Let's pop up because there's something up here, believe it or not, as silly as it sounds, that I want to show you. So first, we're going to back off just a little bit here. Take a look at how nice the panel dimmer actually works now. It works very, very well. Get an actual, genuine, very customizable, slow degradation of brightness, and then obviously the other way around. Same thing with your floodlights. you can really customize it to a very nice state. Now, we don't have any auxiliary light function yet, but guess what they did add too? Now, this is going to be sort of one of those silly ones that's just a bonus, but to me, again, I love this stuff. Passenger and seatbelt or passenger safety and seatbelt lights. In every other version to date of the Cessna Citation Longitude, these are non-functional. So we now have not only a good chime, as you guys heard, hopefully, with over my talking. I will do it again. Hold on. It actually sounds really nice. Very, very nice. Very, very good sounds to them. I'm super happy. I love things like that. The coloring that they have done with the aircraft and the illumination also is something that I'm very, very pleased about. Let's step downstairs for just a minute. A couple other things. So if you guys remember, on the previous version of the Cessna Citation Longitude, you had the fuel flow switch here. That no longer has to be enabled, and if you can see, even the verbiage has slightly changed a bit. The other thing that I really enjoy, and I'm not going to show you guys because it requires a startup of the engines right now. We'll be doing that in tomorrow's flight, but you get a bit more illumination here down on the engine start panels as well. That looks very, very slick. Now, what I will do is we'll go ahead and start the APU. And check out RPM and exhaust temperature now being reported. So even before, it was strictly RPM. That's all we got before. So now we have a bit more information. And no, we are not even kind of done yet on all the new things that are coming with this new release. I'm really glad I made the jump, guys. I'm really glad I made the jump. Let's go ahead and turn the APU Gen on. Okay, we do have it on, and now you also can see the amber bus tie closed, which we want while we're under APU, because the APU only powers one bus. Okay, so let's sort of get into some of the awesome features now that have come down with the G5000 suite. I'm going to return both of these to their home page for now. So let's sort of just go step by step. A lot of this looks very familiar. The map settings, things like that. Not too much has changed there. A little bit, a couple options here and there. I'm not going to go through itemizing these ones just because, you know, they're insignificant. They really are, but a fun change. The layout's much nicer. Here we can see we can change from full view to the split view. And notice that now, because we are in a split view, cross-eye GTC full mode screen, right? So if we switch back, one of the TSCs will go out of control. So in full screen mode, you only use one of the TSCs. In split screen mode, we can now do, for example, if we want to do, let's do map settings. I'll show you guys something here. This is kind of cool. What do we got reporting here? Let me zoom out a little bit because that'll make this a bit easier to demonstrate. All right, so there we go. We've got tons of map data, right? So let's turn the map detail way down, okay? There we go. But then over here, for example, on the traffic settings, we can change. And of course, now because there actually isn't anything going on here. Oh, there we go. Let's put it here. Let's do TA only. There we go. We could change everything over here. Now, obviously, we're not airborne. We don't have any great information to display, unfortunately. Let's see if I can... Oh, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. 24 nautical miles, 80 miles, 40 nautical miles, about the best I'm going to get. You guys sort of hopefully catch the gist of what I'm getting at. You can customize each of the two screens based on what you want. So let's maybe switch this over to weather. Okay, if we wanted to do weather. You now have the option to select how we're wanting to do this. Obviously, that's going to be off because we have weight on wheels. But you have the option to control the two independent screens from the two independent TSC controllers. One of the other really nice things, if we go back to the home page over here, for example, is like if we're doing... Oh, where'd my mouse go? You have your flight plan over here. We could even move back over to the MFD, or excuse me, the procedures over here if you wanted, if you were looking at specific legs as they were entering. Aircraft systems, let's get into that. This is where this gets really cool. Temperature, this is just your simulated in-cockpit, in-cabin temperature, so just the environment, changing your units of measurement. Cabin pressure. Okay, you can actually, this is where we would set our landing elevation and our altitude select if we needed to. Right now it's under normal operation, which is an automatic mode. Exterior lights now available through the TSCs. So if we want to turn our nav lights off or beacon lights off, right? However you want to do it, or force them to an on position depending on what the condition of the aircraft is, that is now available here. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I'm super excited about so much of this stuff, guys. Utilities. This is where this gets cool. Weight and fuel. Now, this has been here before. We've seen this even on the on the TBM 930, but wasn't used very often. Now, for operating weight, okay, you could set an empty weight if you wanted. Okay, this would be without anything else on board. So there we go. And then you could configure the weight based on what your weights and balances is. Or you could come in here. And for example, this was one that I did yesterday messing around. 3 passengers at 150 pounds, 450 pounds a person. And let's say they brought 210 pounds of cargo on board. Now you have your total zero fuel weight, right? Takeoff, fuel on board. We could actually just do a sync. So this is fuel on board sync, which pulls it directly from up here and drags it in. You can see we have 8,270 pounds of fuel. So again, very awesome stuff, and we get our total weight. Or sorry, 7160 on fuel. Here's our total weight down below, and then same thing for landing calculations that are now available as well. And so you're gonna have to actually start pulling this stuff from the OFP, which again is cool. Operational Flight Plan for those of you who missed that one. I'm blown away. So let's go over to the performance page here. This is where this really starts getting cool again. Takeoff data. Now, this is where I need to dive in quite a bit further, but let's go ahead and simulate some of the information we can put. So let's say we're departing on runway 11 left out here of Tucson, Arizona, which is where we are currently at. We could set our weather information. It's actually a rainy day here right now. Wind. Now, I have no idea what the wind is at the moment, but so let's fine. Let's go for 351. I can live with that. Let's say 351 at 15 knots. I haven't pulled the METAR information. And temperature, let's say it's about 12 degrees Celsius. It's actually a pretty cold day today. Or we could do load METAR wind. Boom, there you go. Check that crap out. We could show the METAR. There it is, guys, right there, live, ready for you. No longer have to pull up the weather information directly from the simulator. You now have it here at the TSC. Okay, and again, you have this information here, and you can be doing everything else over here. So you could use one panel strictly for information, the other one for configuration. For example, we could go back over here and open up the same menu. All right, so we're pulling stuff up. We've got our weather information. We've got our METAR. Now we've got, selecting what we're doing. So there's so much that we can do here now. Takeoff configuration. This is the other one where we have to dive in a little bit deeper. Okay, so change defaults. You can see flaps takeoff 1, which is correct, and a rolling takeoff, which by default we don't do. So you could change that if you wanted. Thrust reversers, we would be using max reverse takeoff factor. So it gives you a bunch of different data that you can change. Here is the V1 speeds pre-calculated for you. Now, I am kind of curious. So if we set that, okay, notice that the speed bug's automatically populated up here on the speed tape. But one of the things that I'm kind of curious about still is what happens if we change these and edit these, which we'll take a look at in tomorrow's flight when we actually get airborne. I'm not taking the time at the moment to actually double check these, but actually I'm willing to bet these are probably about right. V1 at 88 knots, rotation at 105 knots. We are not particularly heavy right now. And as any of you who have flown the Cessna Citation Longitude, she's a bullet. So got a lot of power. So I believe these numbers are legit. I'm willing to bet they're spot on. So no more having to use your charts. You can use the charts for cross information, and we can even do check flaps. Look at that. It's even got it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a flap setting here. All right, so we got the flap setting set now, and you can still see that we are still missing takeoff configuration required. So let's go ahead and actually, you know what? I wasn't going to, but let's do it. Let's get the aircraft started. All right, it's nice and quick. So we're going to go ahead and open the cage. Set to run, hit the engine start switch. We'll set our barometric pressure while we're sitting here. Are we actually running 299 or 2? 2986 on the baro. All right, there's one engine stable. And while that's going on, we can see a few more things here. Obviously, you still have all the same waypoint information, but now you have user waypoints. User waypoints indicate points that we can actually either enter in by name. If it's not already in the database, we can create a name for it, but we can use longitude and latitude coordinates now, hence the northeast, southwest, to create custom waypoints. That is really awesome if you're trying to fly a flight plan that doesn't actually coincide with any waypoints that currently exist. So now you can simply create your own and still have it charted out on the a location. The other cool thing is now you can actually add a user waypoint, and here you guys go again, naming all the references and actually connect it to different locations based on where it is you wanting to go, as well as add comments or information to it. They have done a ton. We'll definitely be experimenting with this here later on. So they've really put a ton of work into this. And again, same thing, create waypoint or user waypoint. Same thing with locations. Okay, so obviously, again, from here on the nearest locations, you could actually add that in. Weather information, you can now grab that directly, or your weather frequency information, you can now grab directly from a weather page that is available at the bottom. Now, some of that was already there. And then here, check this out. So coming back to this page, once again, GPS status, you now get full readout information. Oh, hey, I just realized our engines, I forgot, got to talking. Let's turn the right one on. Left one on, generator or bus type automatically goes to open. So anyway, you get full GPS status now. You can actually track it and see what the current positioning is of the aircraft, as well as what the accuracy is. Going to the setup, you can go to your avionics settings. Again, a lot of this stuff was true, using local time, 24-hour clocks, UTC time, flight director information or configuration. So a lot of the stuff is still the same. The MFD fields, it's referring to these up here. Just like before, you're still able to configure those and change those to your desired performance. But now let's go ahead and come back out here because I am still missing one. And I just have to remember where it is. So give me just a second here. Oh, propulsion. This is kind of a cool one too. You can now actually change the engine displays. As well as get an idea of what the runtime is, and then the FADEC operation, as well as engine ignition. So again, more customization there. I'm going to have to dive into that a bit further, and you can see they're also moving into other options here as things come forward. Check this out. This is what I was looking for. Electrical systems, now displaying. Hydraulic systems, now displaying. Fuel systems, now displaying. Anti-ice, you actually get surface temperature. Bleed air, flight controls, and yes, they function perfectly. Flaps configuration, brake pressure. Now, brake pressurization may not be functioning yet, but honestly, I don't think it's all. Well, actually, never mind. Stand by. The parking brake's on, so we're going to have an issue. Let's see if I can do that comfortably from here. There you go. This is me pushing on the toe brakes. So a ton more things to check. Pre-flight. There's your checklist, guys. Fuel pressure. Well, not really a checklist, but more of a test system now. And summary. Check this out. Breaking everything down, what its current configuration is, current settings are, current reads are, current test results. Just a few of the many things that have changed with this aircraft in one single update. I am blown away by the effort that was put into this, and I cannot wait till tomorrow when we actually take it for a flight. I am going to spend the evening diving into it a bit further and making sure that I understand how to actually get the correct takeoff configuration to make sure the aircraft is truly set and ready to go. Because as you can see, currently we are not. No takeoff. For example, if we were to move the throttles forward, you heard the no takeoff enunciation indicating that the aircraft is not properly configured for takeoff. Guys, this aircraft is brand new as far as I'm concerned. It may have the same look, but outside of that, everything else, we're going to be starting from scratch. Like, I'm almost thinking about redoing the guide from scratch. So stay tuned for tomorrow when we actually go for a flight and see how all of this comes together. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little video, little demo, and sneak peek of what is currently in beta and what is currently supposed to be coming our way for the stable releases sometime in January if everything goes according to schedule. As always, guys, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.